Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Black Standard Podcast. My name is Courtney Ann Wallace, and I want to welcome everyone this week. I hope you're having a fantastic week. Now, as usual on this podcast, we start out with our mantra, and that is, I am happy to be alive. My heart is clean. My mind is open. I am ready to receive. As you guys know, it's very important to manifest what you want in your life. And I try to do that every single episode. Our quote of the day is, success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. So that will be our quote this entire week. So today we have a special guest, everyone. She has successfully paid off 22,000 US dollars in debt. And now she uses her experience and her knowledge in accounting to help women budget, to help them get on the path to creating generational wealth for themselves and their families. She's now a financial coach. She uses her social media platform to merge her love for Christ and the church to finance. And she uses all of this to inspire others. So Charlene, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Courtney Ann. It's a pleasure to be here.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Doing well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. So Charlene, let's jump straight into the question. So the first question is, who is Charlene really?
That's a very loaded question. I can either talk about myself for 30 seconds or a whole hour. But Charlene is a very simple young lady, although I'm not so young anymore. I grew up in Jamaica. I went to college in Jamaica. And I, because of my love for accounting, decided to pursue the Chartered Accounting designation. So I have my ACCA designation, and I started working in public accounting. I worked at PricewaterhouseCoopers. And then I got the opportunity to move to the Cayman Islands in 2009. And I moved here to continue working in public accounting at KPMG. Then I moved into the private sector about a year and a half after moving to Cayman, and I have been here ever since.
So it's safe to say that you're very experienced.
Almost 20 years.
Wow. Whoa. So, all right, it's been almost 20 years, but what age would you say that you really fell in love with finance?
The very first accounting class I sat in high school, in fourth form, I fell in love.
Really?
Debit and credit, yes, debit and credit, it made absolute sense to me. Like, I was always the type of nerdy girl, so I could go either way. Whatever I apply my mind to, I can do it. So I could have chosen the arts, I could have chosen like law, I could have chosen the sciences, do biochemistry, physics. But for me, once I did that accounting class, I'm like, this clicks, this makes sense. And I never looked back. So I would say that would have been what, age 14? Yeah, because I started high school
maybe
early.
Yeah, thereabout. Yeah. So, well, to be honest, I did not really like accounting. I much preferred, I was a history girl, and even the embodiment of my different businesses, it's very Pan-African. So I think from a taller time, I knew that I was more appreciative of history. But accounting, not so much. So, I mean, yes, you fell in love with finance, but being an entrepreneur, especially on social media, is this something you saw yourself doing several years ago? Because you could have fallen in love with finance and go corporate. You could have stayed in corporate and do accounting, but you took the road less traveled by, which is entrepreneurship. Did you see yourself being here today?
So let me stick a pin. I am still in corporate.
Yeah,
so I'm doing both.
You're dabbling.
Yeah, I'm doing the corporate thing and I'm doing the entrepreneurship thing. So it's not a choice. And I don't know if this road is less traveled, as you say, where, having a 9 to 5 and a side hustle, I don't know, or a passion, because that's what it really started out of, my passion and my purpose. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I'm doing both.
So what is that like being in? Because I remember for me, it was a constant battle mentally and emotionally being in corporate and having a business, especially where time management was concerned. Persons being supportive of you in the corporate space, because let's face it, they want you to stay and work with them. So some persons might not always be so supportive of you starting a business because obviously the end result is you leaving. What was that like, or what is that like for you? Being, corporate, being in entrepreneurship?
It's hard,
It
simply put.
is.
It's extremely hard. It's one of the hardest things I have ever done. And the reason why I keep doing it is, and I forgot to mention this in my intro, is that I'm a Christian. So my faith guides me every single day. And if I wasn't convinced that God called me to this, I would have walked away because it's hard. It means starting my day from 3:30 or 4 in the mornings
Ooh.
in order to get my quiet time in, because as I said, my faith is important to me. Get my quiet time in, get my workout in, because if you don't have a healthy body, all the money in the world does not make sense. Then work on my business for an hour, then go to the 9 to 5, then come home, take care of the house because I am married too.
Oh, I didn't
Then,
know that. I did
yes,
not
I
know
am
that.
married for 8 years, and then try to fit in a little more for the business before I go to bed, hopefully by 9:30. So it is difficult, but
Me,
it's worth it because I always go back to my why. Exactly why am I doing this? And the reason I'm doing this is because I see a big gap in society and in our churches where women just don't know how to manage their money. Yes, we grew up knowing I need to save and I need to invest, but how exactly does one go about doing that? That's the issue. And because of my own journey, my debt-free journey, which I paid off 22,000 US in debt in 15 months. Because of that, because of my finance background, and because I'm a Christian, merging all three together, it just made sense for me to pursue my passion and my purpose to help women to rise up out of this situation. Because as you said in your mantra, failure is not final. We can overcome these things, but some of us need a little help. We need a little guidance, and that's where I come in.
But it's funny you mentioned, being a wife, having time to yourself and being an entrepreneur, because one of my episodes that I have coming up in the next few weeks is actually geared towards Black women in entrepreneurship and the why behind it, a lot of the factors involved, because it's one thing to be a woman in business, it's another thing to be a Black woman in business. And then to tackle that with family life and all of that. Guys, if you're listening to this, please tune in that episode. I think it's going to come out in like 2 weeks. But back to you, Charlene. I want to know, like, what was it like getting started? Registration, branding, marketing, content creation, because a lot of times persons see the business, but they don't see all of the other things behind the curtains that persons have to do. So they might see you as a financial coach, but they don't see you as the graphic designer, the marketer. That TikTok where they do the that Family Matters intro, and the entrepreneur is literally everybody on the team. That's us. So what was it like for you, doing all of that?
It's been a learning process. And at times I feel so discouraged. I'm like, I really didn't know what I was getting into when I decided to launch this business. But then I realized it's normal. It's just that no one talks about it. It is normal. It is normal for an entrepreneur to be their own bookkeeper, to be their own admin assistant, answering emails at all hours, dealing with stuff like scheduling meetings, even things basic like setting up your equipment to record a video. A lot goes into it. So it was challenging at first, but once I adjusted my mindset to say, okay, Charlene, you don't know these things. And in order to have a successful business, these are the things that you have to do. Then I just dug deep. So getting the business registered, yes, I had to find help. I had to go and Google and do my research and get that done. branding, I found out that branding is not about logos. Branding is not about having a fancy website. Branding is about what do people think about you when they hear your name mentioned. That is your brand. So I have to ensure that everything I do, everything I say, every video that I post, whether on my feed or on my website or in my stories, they reflect who I want persons to, what I want persons to think about me, how I want them to view me. Marketing, oh boy, let's not even go there. Because there was this mantra that I always heard growing up, build it and they will come. That's foolishness. It does not work like that. Okay, you build it, yes, and then you have to go out and sell yourself so that persons can get to know you, that they can like you, and then be willing to hand over their money to you because they trust that you can help them to meet their needs. So it has been challenging, but I embrace it because it's part of the journey. It is what's needed in order to have a successful, vibrant business that will outlast even me when I pass on.
Funny you should mention branding because I had to learn that as an entrepreneur. I have an online business. We're about 4 years in. And I think it was a LinkedIn course, but basically the tutor said that branding is not about what you want to convey to people. It's about what people feel and think when they see your business. Even the very colors of your logo is extremely important because different colors invoke different emotions. Usually with foods, there's a lot of white, it represents cleanliness and stuff like that. A lot of bright colors to represent the food and, just other examples surrounding that. And I had to learn that, even though I had a particular path set out for my online business, really, I realized that customers kept focusing on specific products. So they obviously saw me more as a wellness brand or like a supplements and stuff more than a organic beauty supply store, which is what I set out to do. And I kind of had to make a shift or pivot in terms of the content that I was posting on that page. And so what you said there, it really touched me on a personal note because I can fully attest to that. Now, in case persons are not sure what a financial coach is, what are some of the topics that you cover with your clients as a finance coach?
All right, so great question. So a finance coach pretty much helps clients to find the money that they want to use to build wealth, right? So, and money, it's very simple, or by virtue of human nature, it gets complicated. So the things I cover include goal setting, because if you don't know what you're working towards or saving towards or investing towards, you're not going to do it. So I cover goal setting. I cover mindset because that is very, very critical on any journey you're undertaking, and especially critical with regards to money. A lot of us don't realize that what we experienced in our childhood actually affects how we manage money as an adult. So I cover that in my sessions. Budgeting. I could talk all day about that one, but I help my clients to create a realistic budget based on their lifestyle, based on their goals, and based on their values. Budgeting is not about sacrificing and about frugality. It's about spending your money on what's important to you. I also help my clients to save money. We come up with various targets, with various buckets that they need to focus on based on, again, goals, lifestyle, values, and of course, investing. I help my clients to figure out their investment personality, figure out what kind of investment products is suited for them, and help them to understand exactly how investment works. Dependent on the client too, we talk about wealth protection strategies, because yes, you have the money, but is it protected? Is your family protected in the event that you can't work or there is no money coming in? And then the morbid side of it, which nobody likes to talk about, but which is important, is what? To prepare your finances in the event of death or sickness. So finance coaching covers a wide range of topics, but it is very good and it is very beneficial for those who feel that they need that sort of support and help.
Okay, because I've never had a finance coach, and I always wondered, like, is it a case where you assist persons, of course, with goal setting, yes, but I always wondered if maybe like you did like, for example, saving challenges, like a 30-day challenge, for example, or if based on the person's personality traits, maybe you guide them into the direction, because let's face it, we can't always cut back. Sometimes we need additional income. So I always wondered if maybe you assist persons with like deciding what avenues to take in terms of investments, maybe starting a business, maybe getting a different job. I wasn't really sure what it entailed, because obviously budgeting is being included, goal setting, but I wasn't really sure of the other stuff. So do you do that type of stuff, like maybe challenges?
Yep, I do. Not for my one-on-one clients, and I guess we'll get to that, because that will come out in the course of us working together. Exactly what's blocking you from saving money and how to fix it. So I cover that, yes. And I forgot to mention debt payoff. That's a big thing that I cover.
Yeah.
And yes, multiple streams of income is covered as well. Because you are right. There comes a point where you cannot cut anything more. And with rising costs, with inflation, everybody knows the word inflation now, it comes to a point where there is nothing left to cut. So what that means is you have to raise the income. As I said, money is simple, it's logic. If it's income versus expenses, and if your expenses cannot go down anymore and you need more money, that means you need to raise
your income. Right.
As simple as that. So yes, I help my clients. I have many persons, even persons who choose not to work with me. I get on a call with them and I say, okay, what are you good at? And they'll list out one or two things. And I tell them, you can monetize that. I remember meeting with a young lady once, and she told me that she needs more money and she cannot cut anything more. By talking to her, I realized that she has a food blog. So I said to her, you know that persons would pay you for a little ebook of curated recipes instead of them having to go and search on Google or Pinterest for recipes to lose weight or a keto plan recipe. If you could put 20 of those in a PDF document and sell it, that's money coming in the door right there. So yes, I do help with identifying multiple streams of income, because in these times, it's very, very, very critical to have that.
A lot of times these ideas are free, because for me, I've always had a passion for cooking. It's not something I advertise all the time, but I do have a food channel on YouTube, and it's growing. It's almost there. You have wives, especially like stay-at-home wives, that have like 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, and they have to cook. It's a part of their role as a mother or as a wife, and they just film it. So I totally agree with you. Very important question though. I know, as some of your clients may have jobs and stuff like that, and that makes it easier to guide them. But how old do you have to be to get a finance coach? What if I am young, I'm in college, I'm not quite sure on certain stuff, and I want advice, I want guidance? Do you offer that type of service to younger persons?
At this time, no. If you're in college, no, because based on the offers that I currently have, it's more geared towards those who have income coming in, right?
Okay.
But does everyone need a finance coach? Not necessarily. See, I look at life very simply, you'll realize, if you have a goal and you know that you want to get to, let's call it point B, and you are currently at point A, you need to figure out exactly how you are going to get from point A to point B. Now, I call that the gap between point A and point B. I call that the gap. Now, you need to identify what resources you need to get to point B. Is it knowledge? Is it money? Or is it accountability? It could be all three. It could be 2 out of the 3. It could be just 1 out of the 3. Now, if you realize that by doing some research by yourself, going on YouTube, going on Google, probably downloading some freebie online, you are able to get to your goal, then I wouldn't say you need a coach, right? Because you have the knowledge. If it's a money issue and you know that, okay, I'm good at this, I can go out and do this thing to bring in more money, then I wouldn't say you need a coach. Let's say that you know everything, you have the money, but for some reason you cannot make any progress. You keep spending the money when you get it. You keep falling into the high interest rate debt trap. And for some reason you cannot make progress. I'm going to say that is exactly when you need a coach. Because a coach, yes, will teach you what you don't know. But the beauty about coaching is the accountability and the support. Because when you have to answer to someone, best believe you're gonna shape up, right? And the next thing about coaching is that a coach can help you to identify potential pitfalls and help you to avoid them. Or if you fall into the pit, the coach can help you to get out. Problem solving is a big thing in coaching because I have to come up or help my clients to come up with different ways to avoid situations, because life is not an upward trajectory. It's not always a stair step from point A all the way to point Z. You're going to have hills and valleys. You're going to have times when you're down and times when you're up. So I help my clients to pretty much figure their way out of the valleys and out of the situations when they fall and how to overcome it and still get to their goals. So it just depends on where you are in life and exactly what you need and how fast you want to get there too. Because it's not necessarily that you can't do it on your own, but do you want to get there faster? I have had to get coaching. I've had to get a business coach because I realized that if I want my business to progress as quickly as I want it to, it wouldn't make sense for me to spend 5 or 6 hours a week watching a YouTube video when I can meet with somebody for 1 hour and boom, she downloads everything in me and I can just go away and execute. So it just depends on where you are in life and how fast you want to get there.
So what is the difference between a finance coach and a financial advisor? I know financial advisors have to be licensed. And I think they also have to work for brokers. Am I correct?
You have independent financial advisors too.
Okay, so what's the difference between the two?
A financial advisor pretty much helps clients to maintain and grow their money, right? Okay. Their wealth. So you have to have money in order to go to a financial advisor.
Okay.
Financial coach helps you to find that money that you want the financial advisor to manage, to put it simply.
Got it.
Okay, so you can't go to a financial advisor and say, I'm always spending my money and I don't know what to do. They would run you out of their office. Or I don't know if I should focus on my emergency fund or pay off this credit card debt. The financial advisor is not going to help you with that. They care about how many millions of dollars they have under management and if they're going to meet their end of month or end of quarter target. The financial coach helps you, treats you as an individual, as the individual that you are, and helps you to navigate the circumstances based on where you are currently and where you want to be.
So earlier when you were speaking about being a wife, being an entrepreneur, I did have this question written down for you, but what are, maybe 3 or so challenges that you face as one, a Black woman, 2, a woman, point blank, and then 3, being an openly religious person, because let's face it, not everybody's a Christian, not everybody believes in God, but then they might still need financial coaching. So what are some of the challenges that you face with these 3 factors?
It took a while for me to find my voice because I felt marginalized, and not necessarily because of how I was treated, but because of how I viewed myself, and what I see portrayed in society towards women and women of color and women from the Caribbean in general. So those challenges I had to overcome, the negative voices in my head that told me that I did not belong or I did not have a place or I had nothing to contribute. I had to overcome that. As an openly religious person, I just had to grow a thick skin, had to remember exactly who called me, what is my purpose here on earth, and lean into that. I remember when I niched down on Instagram and started branding myself as a faith-based money coach, 2 things happened. I lost a lot of followers. I think I lost like close to 100 in a few days. And it took me a while to get those 100 followers, you understand? So for me to lose so many in a short span of time, it was disheartening. But then I realized that persons became attracted to me because I was openly vocal about my faith, because they realized that here was and someone called me a quadruple minority the other day. Here was here is a Black woman in finance from the Caribbean who is open about her faith.
Okay, yeah. I see the correlation.
Not normal. So it was challenging at first, but I realized that once I could overcome the doubts in my head, that's where most of it came from. It was the inner critic crying out. Once I could overcome that and silence her, then I just leaned into it and kept showing up, kept remaining true to myself, because that is what is important in any area of life, being authentic.
So I mean, because you could have started a business, you're a Christian, but you didn't necessarily have to tie in the two together. And I'm seeing here in your bio, it says, I help Christian women budget, crush debt, and build wealth and thrive with money. So my next question is, why target women, one, Christian women too, in particular as your target audience? Because you could have been a Christian and just be a financial coach, right? Mm-hmm. And even maybe in that regard, maybe you would have, maybe some would say, a larger clientele, because then persons wouldn't feel marginalized, as you said. So why did you make that step to say, I specifically want to help Christian women and women right across the board? What made you take that step?
Because there's a big need for it. Simply put, the society doesn't teach us about financial literacy, or schools do not teach about financial literacy, or churches sadly do not teach about financial literacy. And it's no one's fault, because no one can teach what they don't know. Which is why I was an accountant, chartered accountant, have my degrees and my designation, and still ended up in $22,000 of debt, because no one taught me that you have to spend less than you bring in. No one taught me that your budget has to be realistic. No one taught me to avoid high interest rate debt and how to effectively handle a credit card. There's a big gap in general. And then when I look in the churches, I'm seeing women, because our churches are primarily filled with women. I'm seeing powerhouse women, right? I'm seeing powerful intercessors. I'm seeing pastors and leaders and women who pretty much can move heaven on earth, and yet they struggle with their money. And it's because no one teaches them how to do it. I see so many churches focusing on tithing and giving an offering. But then when I took a step back, I realized, okay, but exactly where are people supposed to find this tithe and this offering from when they can't meet their day-to-day bills? It's because they haven't been taught that, hey, you save up for that piece of furniture that you want to buy from the furniture store instead of putting it on layaway or hire purchase and probably pay a 40% interest. It probably means just telling them, okay, if you use a credit card, ensure that you pay it off in full every month in order to avoid these 50% if you're in Jamaica, or 25% if you are in a country like the US or Canada interest rate. No one teaches us about this. So I wanted to empower women and empower Christian women, because it needs to be done. Somebody needs to do it, and not enough persons are doing it.
So are you saying that you starting your business as a finance coach is more passion driven than profit driven? Because like I said earlier, if persons were to look at it from a profit standpoint, they wouldn't necessarily make that step to filter out to say, I want to help Christian women. You know what I mean? Right across the board, there's women that really, as you said, they don't know anything about finances. They've been left out of the family meetings and stuff like that. And so is it that your business is more passion driven than profit driven?
That's where it started. That's not necessarily where it's going, but yes, that's exactly where it started, from a passion and purpose.
Okay,
but it is possible to monetize your passion and your purpose.
Because I'm wondering, like, what if someone sees your platform, they need the help, but then the bio is literally there that says, I help Christian women, and maybe they're not Christian. How do you feel about that, knowing that that person probably did not reach out to you because they felt like maybe, oh, she doesn't want to help me?
If you know anything about me and my brand, I welcome everybody. And that goes back to how do you show up online? So yes, it might say Christian woman. And sometimes I do post on Instagram faith-based content.
Right.
But if you know anything about me, if you check out my stories, you'll see that I welcome everybody. I work with persons who are not Christians. I work with persons who aren't sure which side of the fence they fall on. And I work with those who are Christian, but my platform is geared to empowering women in general. It's just that if you're Christian, I don't want it to feel left out, because you see, we can think that, okay, if I say women, there might be Christian women who might think that, okay, I'm not supposed to have money. I'm not supposed to be wealthy. That's not for me. I want to show the Christian women that, yes, it is for you too, because that is the misconception in our churches, that Christians are supposed to be poor. I'm here to break the narrative that
money is the root of all evil.
There you go. So that's why I zoned in on Christian women, because I want to show women that the Bible talks about money more than it talks about anything else. Right? There are 2,000 verses in the Bible about money. The Bible has the manuscript about how to manage money, but many women don't realize it because it's not taught.
Very, very good answer, Charlene. I like that answer very much. All right, so let's touch on the social media aspect a bit. You're a lot older than me. You mentioned that you've been working for 20 years. I've probably been working for about, I don't know, 7. I'm 25 August.
You're young.
So, I mean, where social media is concerned, right? Obviously, you being slightly older, you still saw the need to be on social media as an entrepreneur. And I want to get your take on this. How important do you think it is in 2022 now, especially with the metaverse, all of these things happening in the tech space? How important is it for entrepreneurs to get on social media, regardless of their niche, regardless of what they're selling, what they're doing? And I guess you can answer this after, but would you say that being on social media has played a significant role in driving traffic to your financial coaching business?
Definitely, because if entrepreneurs don't get on social media, the fact is they're going to be left behind. I don't remember the stats, but I think it's like over 1 billion people are use Instagram to begin with, not to mention Facebook, TikTok, and all the other platforms.
YouTube has 7 billion.
There you go. So in order to reach the people who you want to buy your product or service, you have to get on social media. Does it mean going on all of them? No. I don't intend to, because it is exhausting, to be honest. But you have to find where your people hang out, and you have to speak to them in a way that helps them to end up trusting you, so that they want to give you their money so that your product or your service can help them. I would say it is absolutely foundational, because without it, you would pretty much be just talking to yourself. Is it the only way to grow? No, because let's face it, the algorithms change on a daily basis, it seems like. So you have to find a way to get clients outside of social media too. So that is just one branch or one aspect of establishing your platform or your presence. You have to focus on the physical aspect too, let's be frank. But I don't think any entrepreneur should totally ignore the value and the place of social media.
So bonus question, were you a social media person before?
Instagram, no. I was on Facebook. Instagram, no. No.
Because for me, I had to get on TikTok. I realized that, one of Instagram, as you said, the algorithm was changing so much at the time. And I was like, hey, I'm trying to drive people to my YouTube channel. I think TikTok is one of the best ways to do that. I remember posting a video and it got like 70,000 views in like a couple of days. And I'm like, this is crazy. And they would click the link, go over to YouTube, go over to Instagram. And like you said, you don't have to be on every single platform, guys. If you're listening to this, I think that based on the nature of your business, you should know what's best for your business. If you know that you have a lot of information to share, I would say Instagram and YouTube is the best platform. If you know that you're just trying to grab somebody's attention for them to go on your website, maybe TikTok is the best platform. If you're trying to find like a different type of generation, because some people still use Facebook. I think Facebook is still a good platform. So I totally agree with you there. Now, guys, we're going to get into a very important segment of this podcast. This is my favorite part. It is the money section. And Charlene is the money coach. So, Charlene, question number one, right? You have a time-based business, which means that people pay you and you make time out of your day to coach them, right? So that's currently your business model. I want to know if you plan on maintaining that business model, if you plan on adjusting, because let's face it, there's only one Charlene, there's only 24 hours in a day, and God's willing, your business is going to blow up, girl. So what do you plan to do?
So the plan is not to necessarily cut out the one-on-one, and I'll tell you why in a bit, but to add different offers so that I can meet more persons based on, their availability as well as their income. So the way to do that would be through books and courses.
Yeah.
Yes, I still plan to do one-on-one because there is something about meeting someone face to face, whether virtually or in person, and walking with them step by step until they get to their goal. That accountability thing, don't discount it. There is something very transformational that happens when you are in a community of like-minded people. It pushes you to do better. So yes, I plan to tweak it, but the one-on-one, I don't think it will ever go away 100%.
What I've seen some entrepreneurs do is they do courses. I mean, you kind of answered question number 2, which is what are your thoughts on courses? But we'll still get to that. But what I see some entrepreneurs do, they do the course, they do the ebooks, and because their time is now so valuable, they probably increase the prices of the one-on-one. So I don't know if maybe you have that in the works, but yeah, I figured I would ask you that much because it's very important to your business model. And question number 2 is your thoughts on courses. Personally, for me, like you said, there's still value in one-on-one. And I see this happen with a lot of entrepreneurs. Their platform blows up and then all of a sudden it's just courses. And a lot of times you literally kill your business like that because maybe the customer maybe has questions. They don't really understand something and it's kind of like when you call the bank and the automated, it's so annoying.
It is. There is something, so we are not meant to do life alone.
Automated.
And through a screen, there is something about that personal connection that helps people. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to give away a little secret here. But on my Instagram page, for every actual person that follows me, I'm not talking about those mindset pages or those bot pages that follow me. For every individual person who follows me, they get a personalized message from me. And most times I'm met with, oh my God, somebody really answered me. I'm like, yes, because you are a person, you matter to me. I always take time out and say, welcome, I'm happy to have you here. And it makes a difference because no one wants to feel as if they're just another dollar, a potential dollar. They don't want to feel as if, oh, they're not valued. They want to feel important. So for me, even if I go the courses route, I think I will still offer some element of touch point. Probably it's a Q&A session, probably it's a meet up with me session, a mastermind, something. But on this journey, you need support, you need accountability, and we need to stop doing life by ourselves. It's not healthy. We were not made to do life alone. I'm a Christian, so I'm just going to put this in. But when God made Adam, he had to make Eve too because he needed company.
And a few animals.
Right, the animals, it wasn't just them alone, one animal. They had company.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't like, I know some coaches don't advocate for this, and everybody has this standard model that they follow, one-on-one and then group and then courses. And I like to do things my own way.
Right.
So, and for me, it's about interacting with people.
Another thing too, I don't know if you already have this, but even if you do take the course route and navigating it carefully, some persons still do, I think, like weekly webinars just so everybody can collectively catch up and share their experiences and stuff like that. So I think the courses aren't bad, but it has to be done correctly. That's my
Yes.
view. That's my
And the
view on
next
my
thing,
things.
how many courses have you bought and they're still sitting in your inbox? I'm guilty. I must say,
I'm not really guilty, but in terms of those free ebooks,
you take your leisurely time and you read them or you do the material because there is no urgency. And all that is doing is delaying your progress and the goal. Whereas if you actually had a session where you had to show up and you're going to be asked, okay, where are you struggling with this section, with this topic?
Right.
You might be motivated to actually do some work, watch the video, watch the session before you turn up to the class. I'm just saying.
Now I'm gonna put you in the hot chair a little bit now, Charlene, because on the podcast I usually ask my guests this question. So there are like 7 streams of income. There's probably more out there that we don't know about, and I want to discuss like how many do you see yourself having? Because there are some persons that they prefer to have as many as possible with maybe passive income being put into their account, every now and then. And then there's other types of persons that prefer to have maybe 3 or 2, and they just focus on those, and they usually get big returns and stuff like that. How much do you see yourself having? And
All of
then,
them.
how many do you have now?
It depends on how many what are the categories?
Everything. It doesn't matter. So for me, my stock portfolio, this podcast is monetized on Anchor, my YouTube channel, my online business, me teaching my Hispanic students. A lot of people don't know that I teach Hispanic students. I don't broadcast that, but how many is that? I wasn't counting, but
probably you've gone 5, so I think
yeah,
there are
so
more than 7.
but long term, I want to do it like the official route, which is like dividend income, rental income, interest earned income. I can't remember all of them right now. Capital gain, stuff like that. That's the route I intend to take. So where you're concerned, where the official list is concerned, rather, how many are you at?
Most of them.
Really? That's good. Really? Charlene, I might have to sign up.
I have been at this thing for a long time, number 1. So let's not discount that.
Yeah.
Number 2, I'm married to a serial entrepreneur.
Oh, shout out to hubby.
And number 3, you have to have multiple streams of income in order to navigate this life. Unfortunately, my household has been hit with a lot of things. I mean, I could talk about, as I told you at the intro, I could talk about myself all day because we've been through a lot, but we have realized the importance of having multiple streams of income and of having income coming in even when one person isn't working.
Right, that's very important.
Yes. Let's put it that way.
I think with me, what I'm aiming to do, I'm trying to shift. Remember when I said that your business was time-based? For me, I'm trying to shift away from, shift away from that, because a lot of the stuff that I mentioned a while ago really do require my time. And so for me, long term, I'm trying to actually use that, because I printed that list when I was like 16 years old. I have it somewhere on my desk. I'd never throw away that piece of paper, the 7 streams of income. And I have used that over the years to kind of, guide myself. Right now, a lot of the things I'm doing, it's not anything I plan on doing long term, but more so like a step to advance to something else. But long term, that list is really what I'm aiming for. And guys, if you're listening to this, I'll probably share a link to the list that I'm referring to in the description box below. But I really urge you guys, it doesn't matter how young you are or how old you are, download that list and use that. I'm telling you, it's gold. Okay, so last question, Charlene, for persons that are listening and they want to know, why should they get a financial coach? I mean, you really said it all in the episode, but just one last gem that you want to leave with them, like somebody listening right now, they're in debt, as you said, especially they're a woman, they need help. What is that final touch of advice that you can give them as to why they need to get on financial coaching?
If you want to build wealth, build lasting generational wealth, and you know that you are not able to do it on your own, get a financial coach. If you realize that you keep setting the same goals year after year, do better with money, save more money, invest money, start a business, and you realize that at the end of each year, the goal is still there, untouched, no progress has been made on it, get a financial coach. I have had clients whose financial situations have turned around within 4 to 5 months.
Excellent.
It's not a long-time commitment. It's just us laser targeting your issues, getting you on a plan, you doing the work and seeing the results. Emergency fund, tick. Pay off credit card, tick. Start your investment portfolio, tick. Have your goals mapped out, tick. Have a budget that works for you, tick. Being able to go on vacation without stress and without worrying about a high credit card bill when you come back, tick. Being able to teach your children about money, tick. Having adequate life insurance in place, tick. All of that is covered in coaching, in financial coaching. So as I said, it depends on where you are in your journey and how quickly you want to get to your goal.
Very important, guess one last point. I think what Charlene touched on that resonated with me. It's not always about the lavish lifestyle and the billions of dollars, because everybody has their different version of wealth or making it rather. And so what we're trying to tell you guys here is getting a coach is not always to be this big shot millionaire. Sometimes peace of mind is really just all we need. That's really the most important thing. I have been in positions before where I am just thrown off because my bills are not paid or something is not right with me financially. And I know how important it is to have peace of mind. And I totally agree with you there, Charlene. So guys, if you need to find Charlene, all her links will be in the description box below. Her Instagram is Charlene Money Coach, no underscores, no spaces, all lower caps. Charlene, thank you so much for taking the time out to come on this podcast. Really enjoyed the discussion.
Thank you too. It was great.
All right, guys. So I will see you guys in the next episode. Coming up next, our next guest, she really has a touch for flavor, and that's all I will say for now. So guys, tune in to that episode tomorrow on Sunday, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye, everyone.